median age of the whole of Africa, 1 billion and something people. The median age of Africa today is 18 years. In Kenya, I think it's 19 years. That's our median age. What that means is that the biggest section of our population is in that age range. They're between 18 and 20. Yeah, that's the biggest section of our population. It's important to think about this because they are going to be your biggest market. And the characteristics that they portray are going to be the fundamental characteristics of how the entire market operates, right? So if you imagine that the biggest part of your market is between that age range, what are the qualities about them that are most interesting? The first that's most interesting for me is that they are early adopters. They try things out. They don't have very set preferences. They don't have very set ideas on things. They're willing to try something out. And that's a great opportunity for anyone who's making content, because your market is majorly interested in checking new things out. So you have to think about that as much as you can. Another important statistic that's not always visible to us, a very large section of the African population, which I told is between 18 and 20, a very large section of them now have access to the internet. Now, I also need to qualify that. It doesn't mean that they have continuous access to the internet. It just means that they have access to the internet. So that means that they could download something to listen to later, but they might not be able to follow it live or listen to it at the same time. Behind that stat is another interesting one, and I want you to think about it, is that 70% of the population in Kenya specifically, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, lives in the rural areas. So 70% of Kenya is rural. That's also good to think about, because when you think about how the internet is playing, they have access to the internet, but because of their context, they probably have access to the internet once a week, right? Or maybe once a month, or whatever it is. I've heard some other ghost numbers from the Big Green, and the Big Green people say that the average spending on data bundles is 200 to 300 bob a month. So when you think about that and overlay about the access, then this stat is nice to talk about, but it's not necessarily getting to the crux of the matter. However, as you're building, it's good to think that people will find you. They might not consistently be able to consume your stuff. And this stat gets kind of more interesting the lower age you go. So under 35s are better than over 35s, right? Under 25s are better than over 25s. And then under 15s are way worse because they don't have phones, they're not connected, they're not anywhere.